Welcome back to my channel, guys. This is after a long time. So I was a little busy with my department posting. I had prosthodontics, so I had to complete denture and RPs. Now I'm done finally with both. I hope so. RPD will be delivered like within 2 days. After that, I'll be done with prosthodontics. So then I'll be starting again with the videos. So be ready. So we are going to start with candidiasis today. And candidiasis are divided into two parts. First, we'll have an overview of what is candidiasis, what are the classification, and what are the types. And once we have done with that, we'll move on to diagnosis, which comes as a short note in my university. So let's start. Candidiasis, what are the synonyms? Can say it as candidosis, moniliasis. Why is moniliasis? It's because of the genus Monilia. And it's also known as thrush because it's like a white appearance it gives. And then it's also called as lait maguet. Lait maguet in French it describes as lily of the valley. The lily of the valley are these kind of flowers. It's said because of the whitish patches it has candidiasis. I will have more pictures of candidiasis. So candidiasis to just think about. It is like on the tongue you have white patches. These patches can be scrapable, can be non-scrapable, or can be either erythematous also, red patches also. So this is what we are studying. It is because of a fungus. Okay. Now we are learning about candidiasis. It's one of the most common fungal infection. Okay, affecting human beings. It's because of a fungal infection. All of you all know about it a little bit. We read about it in pharmacology, microbiology, somewhere. So it is a true opportunistic infection. So it is opportunistic infection. That means when your body's immunity is low, this guy will affect you. Yes, causes oral infection. Oral infection when there is underlying predisposing conditions in the host like immunosuppression. That's what I said. So candidiasis is one of the most important fungal infection affecting human. It will only affect the human when the immunosuppression is present. Yes. Now what are the species involved in this? You have to remember most common species is Candida albicans, which is 70 to 75% you will find Candida albicans. The other is Candida glabrata, Candida tropicalis, and Candida parapsilosis. So you have to remember about albicans, glabrata, tropicalis, and parapsilosis. Okay, these are the four you have to know about. The most common being the albicans. Okay, now we'll learn about. We have introduced synonyms in the introduction is done. Now we come for the good growth characteristics of Candida. Okay. So Candida is a normal inhabitant of the oral cavity. So it's a normal commensal of the oral cavity. You will find it in a normal person. Okay. It is aerobic. So it needs oxygen and it best grows at 37 degree temperature. That is a normal body temperature. Therefore, when there is immunosuppression, it flourishes and grows. Okay. It is normally present but cannot harm you as such, but when there is immunosuppression, it will grow. Then the optimum pH is also 6 to 8, which is normal, and it reproduces through asexual budding. Asexual budding doesn't need any gamete formation and everything. It's just asexual budding, it reproduces. And exists 3 forms. There is pseudohyphae, there is yeast, and there is chlamydospores. I'm not going to go in that detail that you have to learn in microbiology. This is oral pathology. Right? Now we come for predisposing factors. When do you think it will affect a person? Now, physiological factors are there, and then there are pathological factors. We'll go to see physiological factors. You will have it in old age when you are in old age, you are not maintaining that level of oral hygiene which you should have maintained because of certain reasons. So it becomes a predisposing factor. Then during infancy, if your parents are not taking care of your gum health, they are not wiping the gum pads or not, you can get. And during pregnancy, when there is hormonal fluctuation and nobody is taking care of the mouth, of mother's mouth, then you can have candidiasis as well, and this is physiologic factors. Now if we talk about local trauma, due to mucosal irritation or poor denture hygiene also can cause candidiasis. Then antibiotics, you know, super infections, right? So when there are broad spectrum antibiotics given, the good bacteria which protects your cell, protects your mucosa, are the ones getting affected. So if they are affected, these fungus like candidiasis has a chance to grow, because they are present in our oral cavity. So they will grow if there is less of the good bacteria present. Okay. Then we come to corticosteroids. If you are taking steroid inhalers, systemic steroids, what is steroids? They immunosuppress. They keep your immunity suppressed. So if your immunity is suppressed, again, they are opportunistic candidiasis, opportunistic infection. So they will affect your mucosa. Then you have your malnutrition. Vitamin B12 deficiencies can also cause candida growth. Then you have endocrine disorders such as hypoendocrine states, hypothyroidism. Then you have Addison's disease, hypoadrenals functioning. Adrenals are producing less hormone. Then you have diabetes mellitus. Obviously, there is so many diseases related to diabetes mellitus. You have to remember all of these. And then you have malignancy. So a malignancy will be either leukemia, agranulocytosis, blood disorders, which can predispose you to candidiasis. Then we have immune defects such as AIDS, thymic defects, then xerostomia such as irradiation, and then Sjogren syndrome in which you have autoimmune disorder, okay, where you have immune cells attack the exocrine glands, salivary glands, and then you have less production or no production of saliva. And you have cytotoxic drugs. Some cytotoxic drugs can also predispose you to candidiasis. So these were some of the predisposing factors. Now we come to etiopathogenesis. On revision, so we did the synonyms. Then we came about the introduction. Then we talked about the types, that is Candida albicans, Candida glabrata, Candida tropicalis, and Candida parapsilosis. Then we came to know the growth characteristics, which you have to learn. All the normal body temperature, body pH, everything you have to write aerobic. And then predisposing factors, first comes physiologic, local trauma, then immunologic, antibiotics, corticosteroids, then you have to malnutrition, you have to remember endocrine disorders and malignancies, immune defects, all of these. Now we come to etiopathogenesis. How does it have effect? So environmental factors, all of these, they increase the density of candidal colonization. As I told you, candida is a normal commensal of a human mouth. As environmental factors or predisposing factors are there, they increase the candidal colonization. Okay. For example, denture, removable orthodontic appliance, use of pacifiers, all of these, they will increase this candidal colonization, and they will decrease the other commensal microflora, as happens in antibiotics also, broad spectrum antibiotics. Okay. There is no competitors for nutrition. So one is increasing, one is decreasing. There is no competition for nutrition and no production of antifungal factors. So when will antifungal factors be formed? When there is competitors who want to fight for the nutrition, they will produce antifungal factors, but there are no antifungal factors now. So what are the microbial factors? Adherence, interaction of lectin-like, so the candida, they produce lectin-like proteins, the fungal cells wall, lectin-like proteins of fungal cell wall with cell surface glycoproteins of the human host. So there is adherence between this lectin-like protein of the fungal cell and glycoprotein of the normal human cell. So there is lectin from the fungal and glycoprotein from the human, and there is adherence of them. This is one of the factors. And there is this is adherence, and then you have candidial proteases. which is penetration like aspartic proteases. So once you have this adherence, they release proteinases. So there is aspartic like proteases which disrupt the proteases, so they will break down the protein, right? So there is aspartic like proteases which disrupt the epithelial integrity, okay, and enable the hyphal penetration. As I told you, it is a fungus, it has hyphal, pseudohyphal and yeast, right? So there is this breaking down of the epithelial integrity by releasing proteases, aspartic like protease, and you have entrance or penetration of hyphal penetration, right? This is one mechanism where you have breaking of the epithelial integrity and you have your hyphae growing into it. Second one is epithelial endocytosis. So the hyphae is engulfed. So you have your epithelium, right? This is your epithelium. So the hyphae which is there, it's engulfed into your epithelium like pseudopodia-like through pseudopodia-like extension. So I told you first there is adherence with the lectin-like proteins and glycoprotein of the human, and then you have release of proteases, aspartic like proteases from the fungal cell, which will break down the epithelial integrity, thus causing the hyphae to penetrate inside, or can the epithelium has pseudopodial projection, epithelial endocytosis, where the hyphae is engulfed and joined into the epithelium. These were the sum of the factors. Now we come to the host factors. Host factors could be due to trauma, epithelial changes. Trauma is due to a sharp tooth. Epithelial changes could be using like nicotine containing products. Then you have smoking, the reduction in salivary flow, qualitative changes, and systemic factors. These are all factors which are host factors. Okay. Now we come to the main part, that is the classification, which we have to by heart. There is no other option. So let's just go for it. So we have primary oral candidiasis, group 1. Primary oral candidiasis, let's change the color. Primary oral candidiasis, which is group 1, and we have secondary oral candidiasis, which is group 2. And yeah, okay. So we'll learn about primary oral candidiasis first. So you have to remember it into 4 parts. You have acute, chronic, candida-associated lesions and keratinized primary lesions superinfected with candida. Okay. Now we will learn about acute. Acute can be pseudomembranous or erythematous. As the name suggests, pseudomembranous can be scraped out. Yes. Erythematous, red in color. So acute, what we are learning? Primary oral candidiasis group 1, acute, pseudomembranous and erythematous. Okay, done. Now we come for chronic. Chronic has erythematous, pseudomembranous, hyperplastic, nodular and plaque. As I told you, acute, as you know, acute will be at a very short duration of time. Chronic will be progressed for a long duration of time. Right? Progression through a long duration of time. So chronic can be again erythematous, red in color, pseudomembranous, which is scrapable. Then you have hyperplastic, overgrowth. Then you have nodular, nodules like will be present, and plaque like will be one single plaque like. Simple. So we have acute, chronic done. Now we have candida associated lesions. So what are associated with candida? You can have angular cheilitis. Over here you have some reddish appearance. Then you have denture stomatitis. As I showed you in the earlier, you will in the denture bearing areas you will have reddish stomatitis. Yes. Then you have median rhomboid glossitis. As you know, what is median rhomboid glossitis? It is on the tongue. You will have a rhomboid shape, red color, which is also candida associated lesion. Next we have keratinized primary lesions super infected with candida. So here they are saying there is already a primary lesion which is super infected with candida. Okay. Now what are these? Like leukoplakia, that white patches which are affected with candida. So leukoplakia plus candida can occur. Then lichen planus you all know. I'll have photos later. So they can also get affected with Candida. Lupus erythematosus, we are going to learn about it. Okay, so all these now for now just learn their name so that when we learn later, just clicks. Okay, so this is primary group, primary oral candidiasis group 1, acute chronic Candida associated lesions and keratinized primary lesions superinfected with Candida. Now we come for secondary oral candidiasis, which is group 2. Now oral manifestations of systemic mucocutaneous diseases. Okay, so there is already something in the system, mucocutaneous diseases, and you have oral manifestations of it. Just candidosis. This is due to disease like thymic aplasia, which is DiGeorge syndrome, and candidiasis and endocrinopathy, if there is some endocrine defects which is causing this Candida to be seen. So that is secondary. Okay, this you have to learn. Now we'll learn about the clinical features of Candida. So as I told you, thrush is also known as pseudomembranous candidiasis. We are learning about pseudomembranous scrapable. So clinical features mostly affected the neonates 6 to 10 days after birth and chronically ill patients. Okay, chronically ill, if you go into the wards of medicine and check the bedridden patient and all, you will find Candida associated with them. Their tongue and buccal mucosa. Site is buccal mucosa and tongue are most common, just told you. So what you will see is a pearly white curdy plaque. You will see it like pearly white, it's curdy. Consists of tangled mass of fungal hyphae. So it has, if you take microscopically, you will find it is consisting of a tangled mass of fungal hyphae with intermingled desquamated epithelium. Now, whatever desquamated epithelium of the gingiva of the oral mucosa is there will get tangled into the hyphae and they will be forming. Plus keratin you will find, fibrin you will find, and necrotic debris and leukocytes and bacteria. All of these mixture you will find in the pseudomembranous. Polywhite curdy plaques, tangled mass of hyphae with you have desquamated epithelium, keratin, fibrin, and the necrotic debris, leukocytes and bacteria, and can be wiped off easily leaving a normal erythematous area. Scrapable, that's what I told you, pseudomembranous is scrapable. Now oral cavity and esophagus are involved in HIV. So when the person is having HIV, their oral cavity plus the esophagus is involved. This was pseudomembranous. Now we come to erythematous candidiasis. So erythematous candidiasis is also known as antibiotic sore mouth because it happens when you give broad spectrum antibiotic and acute atrophic candidiasis. Okay. So erythematous areas with diffuse borders with few white thickened foci that rub off leaving a painful surface. Okay, so there is erythematous areas, reddish areas, and they have diffuse borders. Like in scrapable, you had like proper distinctive borders, so they are diffuse with the oral mucosa, and few white thickened foci are present that rub off, leaving. If you try to rub off, they rub off with a very painful surface, exposing the reddish area. Okay, and it is scrapable, that whitish foci. It includes central papillary atrophy of the tongue, central papillary, only in the central, the papilla gets atrophy. Chiliocandidiasis over here also, it can have petechiae and angular cheilitis. All of these, petechiae is the rash you get. Tongue is diffuse loss of filiform papillae you will find, and you will have a bald appearance of the tongue. The tongue will be reddish, bald appearance, like no papilla, bald appearance, no hair, no papilla. Redness due to increased vascularity, diffuse border, and distinguishable from erythroplakia. It is very distinguishable from erythroplakia. Okay. There is diffuse border, increased vascularity, that's why it's red. Okay, a strong relationship exists between this lesion and chronic smoking. So, if a person is a chronic smoker and you find this presentation, then you will say it is erythromatous candidiasis, because there is a very strong relationship between them. And the soft palate is involved due to contact of the tongue is known as kissing lesion. Now, when the soft palate is also red with the contact of the tongue, it is known as kissing lesion. You have to remember, it can come as an MCQ. Now we come for the histopathology of atrophic epithelium. We will see histopathology. What you will see, obviously, atrophic epithelium, it's red. So you will have mild chronic inflammatory cell infiltrate will come, neutrophils, phages. Chronic, leukocytes will come. Cell infiltrate in lamina propria, increased vascularity. So it's red, right? So red will be increased vascularity. Occasional micro abscesses you will feel. This abscesses you have to remember. Occasional micro abscesses in the superficial epithelial layer you will find micro abscesses. Okay. This is atrophic epithelium, mild chronic inflammatory cell infiltrate in the lamina propria and increased vascularity. Remember. And then you have occasional micro abscesses present in the superficial epithelial layer. So remaining one will cover in the chronic hyperplastic candidiasis will cover into the next video. Till then, goodbye and have a nice day.